You're losing creativity. You're doing almost the same one every week now.
Yeah.
I thought the point of these was to have a different one every time so that it fucks with me. But now I'm used to it because you're doing the same.
Well, what if I go with
No, we don't need another one. No, that's too late. We've already done one. We don't need another one. Fucking Jesus.
It's gonna be stuck in your head now. Holy dude, I'm so keen for this. I am so keen for this. This is gonna be big one.
I like how our fucked schedules and me being away like the whole weekend from like Friday afternoon through till Sunday afternoon or night meant that we didn't record when we normally do.
Yeah.
And all it did was like all this shit happened. Like a couple of days, all this fucking shit comes out and we're like, all right, well,
God. Well, guess
we would have
that's
missed
us.
out on all that.
Right. Okay. Well, let's do the intro thing. So, welcome to NULLSCORE, a podcast where two very tired men put whatever ounce of energy they have left into an echo chamber entirely filled with strange opinions and cat gifs. My name is Hamish, and this is my co-host Jiminy Cricket. What's it like being a forgotten Disney character?
It's horrible, man. You're reduced to like cameos in the fucking... What are those stupid Kingdom Hearts games? Whatever the fucking lame shit...
Yeah, honestly, I tell you what, the Kingdom Hearts games, that dialogue is written so poorly. It's. Have you ever watched like Kingdom Hearts?
I've seen it. I've got a friend who's way into it, and every time he tried to show me bits of it, I was like, this is going to put me in an early grave. I'm not gonna fall asleep. I'm gonna slip into a fucking coma any second.
You know what it's like? It's like somebody that has never played a video game was told how video game dialogue works, and then they tried to write the dialogue for Kingdom Hearts. Like, I know that people love the series and they think it is great, and I understand it's very well reviewed, and I'm sure the gameplay is great, but holy crap, the dialogue is awful. It
mostly
bad.
to me seems like a wank fest of Square and Disney characters. That's all.
Exactly. And
Cloud's there.
Cloud's there.
Too.
And now Goofy has the Buster Sword. I mean,
I was just about to say,
what are we going to do now?
Look, I'm sure there's a reason that they're so popular. They do so well, and obviously they do because there's that many fucking sequels and in betweens and whatever. But
yeah. And that's not even the worst writing we have to talk about this week. Have you heard? Oh my God, we have so much stuff to talk. We got to talk about Mixer. We got to talk about these. We got to talk about these Twitch things. We got to talk about. Well, I want to talk a little bit about me being a hypocrite as well. I feel like you might enjoy that segment. And then we've also got to talk a little bit. I want to touch a little bit on The Last of Us 2. Have you heard all about most of these things?
I've spoiled the fuck out of that game for myself because I knew I wasn't going to play it.
I have also spoiled the hell out of that game for myself. So
I guess we'll warn later on. Like, if you haven't played the game and you want to and you don't want it spoiled, we'll tell you, spoiler warning, because we're going to discuss like the end of the game and things that happen.
Yeah. So how about we do The Last of Us last? And then that way you don't have to skip or whatever. We'll have the chapter markers in here so you'll be able to avoid it. But we'll talk about that later because we got so much to talk about this week. We were late recording and we were benefited for it.
Yeah, this is not good. This is rewarding us being lazy.
It's incentivizing laziness, and I don't know.
2 or 3 days late to recording. Never mind when it's supposed to be out, which is yesterday.
It was legit. We're recording on a Tuesday. We usually record on like a Thursday or a Saturday. More recently, we've been recording Saturdays. Yeah. It's Tuesday. Like, we usually publish on a Monday, excuse me. But we'll probably publish tomorrow. But I kind of thank God we did. Like,
it's kind of pushing it as well, but yeah.
A lot of stuff happened today. Look, right off the bat, Mixer's dead. So earlier today, there was a Twitter post. Mixer is officially shutting down operations completely. They are packing up and getting the fuck out. July 22nd?
Yeah,
is that what
soon.
it was?
I don't know.
It's soon, I think. I think that's when they're like, that's the whole thing. And that's like, the whole platform's collapsing. None of this like, we're going to discontinue support. It's,
well, they fucked up. They flat out didn't compete with Twitch. They didn't compete. They didn't give us clips and they didn't give a reason for like some in between regular streamers like just starting out and partners. Those are the only two things they had. They needed to have some sort of affiliate program, and they needed to have clips at the very least. That would have made them competitive enough to stay in the game, I think.
Yeah.
Because those two things, which are huge parts of Twitch, I think, at least for me, were missing. There was no reason to stream there for me, and there was no reason for me to go watch. Like, I would have to watch someone's entire fucking VOD to catch, 5 seconds of funny or like. Anyway, keep going. They're bailing, dude.
They're gone. They're gone. And they've put out a bunch of statements. They've said, look, thanks for the run, guys. We're very proud of what we did. Everyone's going to shift over to Facebook.
What did you accomplish? You dragged over Ninja and Shroud. You had what was it, 0.3 or 0.4% growth over a fucking year?
I tell you what.
It was something tiny. Like
this will be the one point I think where I'm going to defend Mixer, right? And it's I think Mixer is going to go down as I think almost like a martyr for the streaming industry, because it's dead now, but Mixer kicked off the platform wars. Mixer's acquisition of Ninja and Shroud is where what led to us now seeing a lot of big partnered streamers getting contracts. And I think it was just too far behind the game, and they just couldn't catch up fast enough. And now they're packing it up, they're cutting their losses. But Mixer was the mark in the sand. They were the guys that really started to first put on some serious competition, and then promptly fell out of said competition. It's almost like a kid from a grade 7, a grade 7 kid picking a fight with a year 11. It's just he got the shit kicked out of him, but he looked pretty cool doing it for a second there.
He managed to get a couple of the cooler kids to hang out with him for a little bit, but in the end,
it faded pretty quickly.
It didn't matter. The other kid's part of the fucking footy team. They're all going to back him. It's just too many. It was too much.
Yeah. And now the big question is what happens to Ninja and Shroud?
I think they're allowed to do whatever.
I think that was one of the things, because
their contracts got bought out, didn't they? I'm pretty sure they got bought out.
Well, see, this is the thing. Their Mixer directly redirecting to Facebook gaming tells me that this is a buyout, right? Yep. This is not hey, let's come to the table and work out an agreement. Facebook saying your ship's sinking, we'll take it, and Mixer's gone, sweet, have this thing, right?
Yep.
That kind of direct communication. So Mixer partners, I don't know exactly what they refer to it as. I'm going to use the Twitch lingo of affiliate and partner here. But basically, Mixer partners are going to become or have the option to be instated as Facebook gaming partners. And they also have some sort of odd monetization threshold, which is effectively the affiliate program. And some people will have eligibility for that. But
can I just say, I think maybe Shroud will go back to Twitch. I think Ninja won't. No, I think after what they did when he with
left
his
the
channel,
platform,
I think he'll go to YouTube. I don't think he'll stay on Facebook. I feel like he'll go to YouTube.
Yeah. No, he the amount of bad blood there between Twitch and Ninja just is a matter of unprofessionalism. And to be absolutely clear, it is entirely Twitch's fault. Right. I think a lot of people forgot about this, but when Ninja left, Twitch straight up deleted his channel at one point, and then reinstated it without the verified mark.
Yep.
And then after that, somebody streamed porn from it.
No, I think it was they were showing other channels.
That's right. Yeah, they were saying check out other channels.
One of the channels that showed up was streaming porn, because I think it was just random channels. It wasn't even... He didn't get a choice. They should have at least allowed him to redirect to, Because he could have sent it to smaller streamers or whoever the fuck he wanted. He could have just had a list of people, or he could have done it manually,
well, it's
whatever.
easy. It would have gone Tim the Tap Man, Dr. Lupo, his
probably.
regular crowd. Yeah.
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 But instead,
if he
they
had
just
to.
fucking set it to random, and then
Mm.
here's some porn. Like,
yeah, man.
His audience, that's what makes it really bad. So if it was someone like,
Oh, yeah.
if it was someone like Sequisha or Deadly Slub or whatever, it's probably going to be adults going to their channel.
Bloody
It's not going to matter
Trainwrecks.
as much.
God,
Yeah.
God knows
But because
Trainwreck's
it was
audience could
Ninja,
use that.
whose audience is mainly kids.
Yeah.
It's like that's the worst possible result. It's
That's
the
bad.
the
That's
worst possible
really
audience
bad.
you could be showing porn to.
Yeah, it just it blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. And now you're right. I think assuming they have the freedom to move, which I think that they probably will. I definitely think that we're going to probably see a triumphant return to Twitch for Shroud, because Shroud's loved here. And I think if he made a return, nobody would care. They'd be like, "Hey, buddy, welcome back."
Well, I mean, if he really wanted to, I don't know. It depends how lazy he is, I guess, because he does seem like a lazy guy a lot of the time. Like he doesn't want to go too far into it. It depends who offers him the bigger bag of money, I guess.
Well,
could be
Facebook
Facebook
security, right? I think Shroud would know better than most is when it comes to gaming, once you hit 25, 26, you're over the hump, usually.
He's already said that he's on his way down.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like he might not go to Twitch if they don't offer him something good enough. He'd be trying to get as much money as possible now before he starts to, decline, and then people stop watching him. He doesn't have that security anymore. He hasn't got that money rolling in like he used to. He just get as much as possible quickly and then do something else.
Yeah. Just live on that. Live on that.
Like with his voice, he could go into casting and shit, man.
Yeah, or I mean, I think I was looking at this for Tim the Tap Man. Like if Shroud's over the hill, Tim the Tap Man's somewhere in the valley over the at the other side of the country.
Yeah,
and
but you don't go to watch Tim for like good gameplay.
No.
You go to he's a different kind of entertainment.
I mean, he's look. Don't get me wrong. He's pretty bloody good at some of the BR games. Like Tim the Tap Man can give a lot of them the run for their money, but when you put him up against pros, he really can't keep pace. And
what's weird though, put him against Doc and he fucking lose like nearly every time.
Yeah, and Doc's like 40.
Yeah, he's old,
but
he's still like 40.
He's good. I think Doc's the premier old boy. I think if we got to look at our grizzled greys out there, I think the Doc's getting a couple in his beard, but he's still crushing. He's still crushing. And the what was I brought up Tim for a reason. He makes a joke about his mum talking to him and go, "What are you going to do after you're done with streaming?" And his mum reckons he'll go into radio, which I think is probably a pretty good move for him.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, he's comedy based rather than gameplay based, and
once he's done with gaming and shit, he could probably have a pretty successful podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at Joe Rogan, 100 million with Spotify.
Stories and shit. Like, just the stories that he has to tell. And
oh, yeah. Like, you imagine, like, somebody talking about, like, old stream parties from, like, early on in the day. That would be interesting. Just to see the dynamic of all of these incredibly awkward recent teens trying to pretend to be business people.
It'd be easier for him, too. Like, him and, like, one or two others. If they just did it weekly for anywhere from an hour to 3 hours, I guess, max, if they wanted to. Like, do an hour or two as a regular thing, and then do an extra hour for certain level Patreon, whatever.
Yeah.
They'd have plenty coming in. They'd have plenty of listeners. They'd have money coming in from sponsors and all sorts of shit. Man. Like, they'd be successful.
Easy.
That's what I think is hilarious when people say, "Oh, like these guys who are playing games, like that won't last forever." Yeah, I know, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're entertaining enough. Once they've got that audience. And enough things have happened throughout their career of streaming and just going to events and whatever else and interacting with fans. They're going to have so many fucking stories and just be used to talking, I guess.
Yeah.
And then that's their career path, is just being paid to talk. Because it's
That's it.
it is.
Yeah,
Look at fucking Howard Stern. How long's he just been talking for a fucking career? Like
Howard Stern looks like someone killed Howard Stern and then puppeteered his corpse.
Yeah, he's fucking old and fucked looking, but I mean, he's still doing it. He's still making money from
Howard
it.
Stern may as well just be Weekend at Bernie's on radio. Like it's he's always got those sunnies on. He's just forever cooked.
Perpetually hungover.
Yeah, absolutely. It's wild to think. And I mean, look, with Mixer going down now, we're looking at what? 3 big competitors in the streaming space: Facebook Gaming, YouTube, and Twitch.
Mate, what about D Live?
Oh, what?
What about D Live?
Is D Live still? Are they still kicking?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, they haven't announced that they've packed up ship. I mean,
yeah, maybe they didn't need to. It's just fucking fizzled out.
Isn't it like market share, or aren't they like blockchain or something?
I have no idea. I don't know, man.
Here we go.
I know there's a big thing about it because PewDiePie went there for a while. I don't know if he still streams there or not.
Yeah. All right. So they had 9 million visits in May, predominantly in Turkey. Has 30% of its viewership comes from Turkey. This is D Live.
Turkey.
Yeah, I'm looking at a analysis here. Apparently, it's big in Turkey, big in Brazil. The US takes up 17.95% of the viewership. The average visit duration is 6 minutes. But it's rising. In February, it was at 4.8 million, and it's at 9.1 now in May. So
fuck.
I mean, they're still growing. They're certainly.
I
not
wonder what the
dying.
spike was like when Pewds was on there, though. I know Dingo went there for a little bit.
How did he find it? Did you think it was alright?
Well, I think it was good for him he didn't have to watch his mouth.
Oh, because he can just say whatever he wants.
Oh man, like if you think I'm bad, like I've met Dingo a couple times out like in real life, and just within like 20 minutes of us joking around, I think the first time I said like this, we wouldn't have accounts on Twitch. If we joked like this on stream, we wouldn't have accounts anymore. We'd have to.
Well,
we'd
that's
be
why
looking for another platform.
Well, that's why we originally decided to do the podcast offline. We've sort of said, if there's ever any spicy jokes, I think we've gotten good over time, but I mean, it's generally a more relaxed environment, which funnily enough leads to less issues like that. But that's the sort of thing where, because Twitch TOS is just crazy. Speaking of Twitch TOS, bloody Velvet 7 got banned again. I don't know if you know who Velvet 7 is. She's a look, I want to say Korean, but I also don't want to be lambasted for not being correct. But she's a streamer who is very much in the same category as Amaranth and Pink Sparkles and whatnot. And she's been banned a few times for like sexual conduct, I think, basically, or inappropriate clothing. And she's just got a ban again and put up a big Twitch thing where she was like, these are all the outfits I've worn on stream. And they're all like photos of her wearing said outfits. Yep. And I was like, I tell you what, I'm willing to bet that there's a reason why she didn't post clips. I mean, like there's just so much stuff I see on Twitch where you have to wonder whether a lot of that narrative has been fabricated. Which is actually, you know what? That's a position I don't really want to take in the current climate, because that conveniently segues into this issue with the sexual assault allegations. Have you heard about this?
Very vaguely. I've seen bits and pieces on Twitter, but I haven't really looked into it too much because I wanted to wait until more information was out before I said anything about it, because at the moment, it just seems like allegations, which is fine. Where there's smoke, there's fire usually, but I'm not like until something solid comes out, I don't want to jump on. I hate jumping on false allegations. You know, they turn out later to be false, and I've said shit about it. I just don't. I've been caught out by that before. Too quick to fucking say something about it. And I'm like, no, I'll wait. I'll just wait and see what fucking happens, man. Does that make sense? I don't know.
I guess so. I mean,
like we can talk about it as long as it's only like.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll put in big neon lights, so to speak. These are allegations. Okay, these are not confirmed or anything like that. And there's still a fair bit.
Shouldn't you be used to doing that? You're a fucking lawyer.
What do you mean?
Isn't that your whole thing? Like,
that is exactly my thing. This is it. This is all alleged. This is all alleged, right? Now, at the moment, the community is out for blood. And to be fair, right, to these blokes right now, if they do get found to be actually, identified of misconduct, then this is horrible, right? And you absolutely, you're going to cop some backlash, and fucking fair enough, you scumbag. But by the same token, there are a lot of people here who may potentially be exonerated. We don't know, right? But I think one of the things that people are getting really shitty about is the fact that there needs to be an investigation or something. Somebody needs to look into it, which I'm all for, right? Due process, you want to go and have a look at stuff, fair enough, right? I mean, there's a certain level of privacy that you should be afforded. I don't think everybody, like detectives, should be walking through your house every fucking, once a year doing your annual criminal inspection. But if there's like a bunch of people coming forward and they're going, hey, this bloke's a bit shifty, then sure, have somebody ask a couple of questions, right? Don't just brush it off because they're partners. For those of you that unaware in the audience, there are a bunch of allegations that came out basically against high-profile creators. A couple of really big ones. A big Destiny streamer, Say No to Rage, which it's kind of ironic now that you think about it, got pulled up. He's a big Destiny streamer, and another streamer, Jules Verne, accused him, let's see, I've got an article here, keeping his hand on her thigh under the table during a group card game. And Sarah Daniels said she was cornered and made uncomfortable enough to have blocked one particular incident out of her memory. So, somewhat vague. I'm sure that it's probably embarrassing to share a lot of these stories, but, at the moment we don't know a whole lot, is what I'm trying to get across. One of the other really big ones that got caught up was Tom Syndicate. Are you familiar with him?
No. He
was probably what I would consider to be the Black Ops zombie guy. He's huge. And he did like a Minecraft series for a while. I'll check his current subscriber count because it's been forever. He's called the Syndicate Project. So he's currently sitting at 9.79 million. So big creator.
Jesus. Yeah.
And there's a good like 20, 30 names on the list. And at the moment, the big spiel is Twitch's CEO, Emmett Shear, put out a statement or an email, I think it was, to his company. And it was redacted ever so slightly to say like, hey, staff, you can go and visit this person if you need to say anything. And he like redacted their names or whatever because that's like internal company people and whatnot. No, like I get that. Like I'm not. I don't think anyone's complaining about the redactions in the statement. But the statement basically says, hey, there's been a bunch of sexual assault claims. We're going to look into it because safety is our priority. Blah blah blah. Corporate speak, right? And then another streamer promptly followed that up with, oh, yeah, I told a story about sexual assault and Emmett Shear giggled at me. So it's a shitstorm up in Twitch right now. There are a lot of people who are having to untangle this mess. And you're starting to see a lot of really big creators calling out the behavior as well, which was what surprised me the most, right? Because usually, and it was Asmongold and XQC, who are the two biggest guys, who are not the blokes that you would usually expect to jump into this fight really early on. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, think about what both of those guys are like. They don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck.
They don't care.
I think probably Asmongold more than XQC. XQC is actually there's a fantastic clip that went around, and you remember when the Twitch Security Council was a whole thing, and there was like the deer lady. Man, that feels so long ago, but that was probably only a couple of weeks ago.
It's only a few weeks ago, man.
Yeah, it's just
wasn't that long ago,
bro. 2020 is already just fucking.
I just
wild.
fucking didn't. I just didn't want to talk about it because I don't want to bring any attention to that bullshit. Like,
well, he didn't watch the clip because he thought that she was mentally deficient. He thought he thought he'd be making fun of a disabled person, so he didn't watch the clip, and then that clip went viral, which was pretty. I thought that was hilarious. But what I'm trying to get across is that XQC is conscious of this sort of thing. Like ordinarily, he's pretty conscious of not getting cancelled. I mean, the man gets banned enough already. He doesn't need to cause any more shitstorms. But these two dudes jumped on the train, and they were like, "Look, you know, some of these guys, they're gross. String them up." That surprised me the most. I haven't seen such a straightforward reaction like that in this sort of space from, you know, the people that would ordinarily be the subject of those claims, which, you know, male streamers, XQC and Asmon. So, depending on who you talk to, I think obviously it's a good thing. I'm surprised, I suppose happily surprised, but it's pretty because they describe really strange situations where
I think I don't know, man. I really like seeing that shit. I like seeing people get called out for shitty behavior because
I mean, it's not that I say that I don't like it, but go on.
You have to do stuff like that. The more people get away with it, the more often they'll do it, and the more it goes on. The other side of that is, can you imagine, like, all right, so sometimes people will get away with it if they're either big enough or, you know, they're charismatic enough that a victim thinks that no one would believe them anyway. But can you imagine if say I went to PAX and then, I don't know, it's like someone as small and fucking just gross looking as me brushes a hand across some chick's ass. I would get fucking ruined for that. I might be walking past and by accident my hand just brushes. I'm like, oh, sorry. That would be a thing. If I got fucking called out for that, I'd be fucking destroyed over it.
That's like, and I'm going to put up a little counter argument here. I used to work in a cafe, and if you've ever been like behind the counter and stuff, there's not a lot of space to move, right? So I've had times where I've been like in a rush to go somewhere, and I've gone past a female coworker, and they're like working on the coffee machine or something, and I've like got like swung my arm and like smacked a cheek on the way through, and I've turned around horrified, like, I am so sorry. I am just walking here. And usually like that, they understand that, right? But I have the ability to express myself. Like, I'm relatively extroverted. You imagine somebody introverted just freezing up, like not saying anything.
I think there's also a difference. There's a pretty big difference between us. So, and this is going to sound fucking bad. When you look at any picture of either one of us, you are what I would consider to be conventionally attractive. I look creepy. I look fucking creepy, dude. To most people, I'm fucking weird looking.
That is the most hashtag no homo compliment I have ever gotten. You appear to be conventionally attractive.
Well, I'll make you slightly less uncomfortable. I don't want to fuck you, Hamish, at all. Okay, so let's just. But I'm comfortable enough to say that you're a good-looking dude. I'm never going to crack a boner over you, okay?
I'm so disappointed. I'm just come cut.
But my point is, that situation would play out very differently. The exact same thing for both of us, I think, depending on, you know, which one of us was there and did it, I guess. If it was me, I'd be far less likely to have that not so much excuse, that like explanation and then apology.
The forgiveness.
It wouldn't be accepted. They'd be like, did you see what that creepy asshole just did to me? Like, what? Accidentally fucking like, Whereas with you, it's like, oh, no, I don't think he meant it. Okay, fair enough. I'm far more likely to be accused of like grabbing a handful of ass cheek, even if it was the back of my fucking hand or something. Like there was a place I worked at where there was always chicks working at the main counter, and I was just like fucking truck driver. And I wouldn't go behind the counter if they were there. I would not be in that confined space
because it's kind of dangerous.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like it's just I don't fucking know what they're like, man. Most chicks that I've worked with have been fucking nutcases. I don't want to be in that space with them. And then even if I don't go near them, an accusation is enough. If all I have to do is accuse, if there's no one else around, all I have to do is tell the boss, oh yeah, he grabbed me on the tit. And
okay, well, I mean, that's a pretty extraordinary mistake to make.
Whoops. But I mean, you get my point, don't you? Like,
yeah, I understand your point. Yeah.
I would just rather make sure that there's no fucking way that any of that shit can come towards me, because I don't look like, I feel like my looks kind of betray me then, because and also I have such a fucking aggressive way of defending myself in those situations that I would come across guilty.
Yeah, no, you'd raise your voice, which is like
fuck you, dude.
That's the opposite way that you
want
to do.
Why the fuck would I want to grab that fucking skanky bitch's ass or tit? Fuck off.
Hey, and look, same goes for dudes. All right, I mean, why would I want to grab a hunk of that meat packet? All right, I'm good.
I've only worked with a handful of gay dudes, and they never did anything like that to anyone. So
yeah, they're just good blokes.
Not that they never do, but I guess,
like everyone else.
Well, these ones were, so
yeah. I feel like again I have to do the lawyer thing where I say, just because Jim and I joke about like this sort of stuff doesn't mean we're necessarily saying the guys that Twitter has got have been like falsely accused and it's all bullshit.
No,
the position at the moment is it needs more information. We need to figure out what's going on. So
I did work with a guy who absolutely was doing that sort of shit to it was to chicks who were customers, and I told the manager about it, and they didn't want to do anything.
Oh, dude, that's the worst, eh?
It was fucking disgusting. It pissed me off so bad, and I just fucking didn't. I stopped giving a fuck about that job, man.
It hurts you. It hurts your brand. Like, why would you not, as a manager? Like, I guess it's like, I don't want to cause a fuss. Yeah,
what happens when this chick starts telling other people?
Yeah, what happens when nobody comes to your cafe? What then? It blows my mind.
It wasn't a busy shop either. I'm like, you get not enough customers as it is, and you want some of them to be scared away by this weirdo who's grabbing chicks on the ass in your aisles, like in the aisles that he knows there's no cameras. What is wrong with you? Why won't you listen to me? Talk to the customer. Yeah, I saw it happen.
Just have a chat to the customer. I'm pretty sure that, like, if you asked a customer about it, they'd be pretty uncomfortable. And, maybe that customer doesn't come back to your store, which, to be fair, fair enough.
Yeah, she didn't.
But then you can prevent that from ever happening again, right? I mean, well, you don't. You have no certainty in that, but you've already got rid of one issue. Like, that's, I think you just don't risk that, right? Which is also just why, like, I feel like as a guy in that sort of space, so like, taking the position that Asmongold and XQC are saying, where they're like, yo, fucking have a look, man. Go and check these dudes out. Make sure that they're not sus. And if they are sus, light them up. Like, take away their partnerships. And it's just fair enough, right? I mean, there is always nuance in there, whether, it's being trumped up or whether blah, 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 blah. But this is why you have people look in and investigate it, right? There's always a group of people who are like, do you know what a false allegation like this can do to somebody? You should never have done this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, man, sometimes you people don't always think in these sorts of ways, and sometimes people just won't listen if you go through the official channels, right? And more often than not, you just got to have a look at it and figure out what's going on. Like, that's all it is. It's just an investigate. Just fucking get the detectives, all right? Go and have a look.
I found that it's the easiest thing to do is to just be not so much unfriendly, but very blank to everyone. That way, even if you are accused of stupid shit like this, it's like, what? No way. That guy fucking doesn't like anyone. There's no way that he's not flirting with you. He's not trying to grab you. What's wrong with you?
He's not seedy. He hates everyone.
For a long time, that's what people at work thought. Like, they just thought that I fucking hated everyone. It was like, no, it's just like, I'm here to work and I'm not here to make friends with you. I'm not.
Has he ever made unwanted advances towards you? I don't think he's ever advanced towards me at all. I'm pretty sure he gives me a wide berth.
He won't even tell me what he does on his weekends or in his spare time. Like, I don't know anything about him. He might be a serial killer.
I don't know his first name. Yeah. No, that sounds about it. You know what? We should jump off this topic for two reasons. One, it's dangerous, and two, it's ad time.
It's dangerous.
It's always dangerous, dude.
It's good because this feeds into my first part of this fake ad read. Do you want a cup of coffee that tastes so good it'll completely sap you of any fucks you had left to give?
Sounds pretty good. Do you want a cup of coffee that will give you the brain cells required to ascertain what sexual consent is?
Well, it sounds like I need it. Do you want a cup of coffee that has the power to end racism? Because finally we can all agree on something. Killer coffee is the best coffee you could get.
That's yep. Well, do you want a coffee that will give you the marketing team you need to challenge an established industry successfully, considering you already sunk millions into the two biggest players in said industry?
Oh, no.
Well, Killer Coffee won't do all those things, but it's a damn good cup of coffee.
Rip in peace, Mixer.
Rip in peace, Mixer. F's in chat, which is also not even a Mixer meme, by the way. Actually, I don't think F's in chat is a Twitch meme either. I think F's in chat's just an internet at large meme. Which, by the way,
fucking Call of Duty thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it was in Call of Duty. F to pay respects. Yeah, I think it was just like an internet at large. Like Kappa is a Twitch meme.
Slowly evolving.
You know what I'm saying? Like Kappa's a Twitch meme. PogChamp, Feels Bad Man. Actually, Feels Bad Man's probably not a Twitch. I don't know. I'm getting into semantics.
I think Feels Bad Man was a green text meme, wasn't it? It was a 4chan thing.
Yeah, which makes sense because it's Pepe. So, yeah, 4chan and Pepe get along pretty well.
Fuck, that's how old I am. I remember Boxy. Fucking Boxy was.
Boxy, dude.
Jeez. I was very active there when all that shit was happening.
God damn.
He was a fucking mess for ages. Anyway.
Yeah, Internet Historian does really good stuff about old 4chan stuff, like the pool's closed and all that sort of business. He's really good. Man, I love Internet Historian. I think people ask me, they're like, yo, who's your favorite streamer? Who's your favorite YouTuber? And I think if you put the question to me right now, I'd say my favorite streamer, so far as I think, there's a difference between content that I really like to enjoy or I watch on a regular basis and content that I think is excellent, like really good content. The doc, I would put way up there. Production value is really good. His YouTube stuff is always really good, and it always feels like a doc video. Like it's always on brand, which I think is really cool. And then YouTube-wise, it's an Internet Historian. I'll drop whatever I'm doing and watch an Internet Historian video. His stuff's so good. It's really, really good. But speaking of YouTube stuff, Jim, I am hiring an editor to do my YouTube stuff.
Get fucked, I told you. I knew you'd cave eventually. I knew at some stage you would go, I don't have time to record the videos I want to because I'm stuck editing the videos that I recorded.
Pretty much.
I knew you'd get there.
Pretty much. I don't have the time. I just don't have the time. And you know what broke me? The part that broke me was my most recent video, Who is Thresh, took about 30 hours start to finish. Research, scripting, filming, editing, publishing, and then a little bit of distribution, right? Huge undertaking. And now with full-time work, gym, dog, girlfriend, I just don't have the time to produce that sort of video on a regular basis. So I put out a big old Twitter thing, and I was like looking for some editors, and a bunch of people came back. I watched a lot of Fortnite content that I didn't want to watch. I'm gonna be straight with you.
We joked about that when we were like talking about editors like way earlier.
Yeah.
And now you're having to go through it.
Oh, it was bad. It was really bad. And look, I mean, I don't mean any disrespect to the editors that sent me my stuff. I appreciate that everybody took the time to send their stuff, right? But holy fuck, like the amount of edits that I saw that were just Fortnite build battles with lens flares added in and dubstep thrown over the top, and just like the cuts were synced to the beat. And they were like, this is a montage edit. It's so good. Wow. And like all the kills and shotgun shots were synced up to the music. I was like, I've seen this like 7 times tonight.
Everyone's doing the same shit.
Like, I don't need to see this. I don't need to see this. And it was just a really, really terrible experience. Like, I mean, for one, I don't particularly enjoy Fortnite content, right? I did my best to be objective and say, all right, even though it is Fortnite content, I'm going to specifically focus on the editing techniques that I can see.
To me, that's just like saying, all right, I'm going to ignore the fact that it's an A3 sheet of paper and they've used crayons, and I'm going to focus on the picture that they drew with it.
Pretty much. Yeah. I did my best. And like some people, to their credit, they had, they had like multiple games, right? My front runners ended up being somebody that did work for Dexerto. There was a bloke that contacted me, and he did like 80 or so videos for Dexerto, which is the esports news org. Mm-hmm. He did a whole bunch of stuff for their Instagram. I had a American girl who had a really, really interesting portfolio. She had a whole bunch of stuff, and lots of like a couple of vlog edits, which were really, really cool. Like she had some pretty cool transitions, and she did color grading and all that sort of stuff. And then I've got another bloke who is from the UK, and he did edits for Rainbow Six Siege. Mm-hmm. He has been pretty awesome. I've been having a chat to him. He's been pretty good. I've got test videos coming in from all of them, and we'll see. So I've had a chat to some of these people, figuring out where the job will go. But yeah, bringing an editor on board to sort of, I think originally what I'll try and do is see if they can kind of replicate my sort of style of editing to a certain degree.
Yep.
And then over time, put on more and more of their own influence, because I think that will improve the content overall, right? I'm not so arrogant as to think that my style is the best style. And I think that if they're enjoying editing a video in the way that they think is funny, then shit, power to them, right? The raw content's still going to come from me. You can't turn a Volvo into a Mercedes, and you can't polish a turd. So I'm not super concerned about it being, transformative to the point of it not being mine anymore. But
I think for me that'd be rough, because I'd have to find someone who, I say a lot of offensive shit.
Yeah, somebody willing to deal with that.
It'd be somebody who's willing to sift through that and not be offended.
It would literally,
it's all garbage. It's all bullshit.
I just have this image in my head of some fucking 17-year-old kid somewhere on his second mother of the night, listening to you just being like, fuck, shit, fuck. Just going through all the clips. Like that's the worst part, is when you edit down footage, all the high energy parts usually have a cuss word in there somewhere. So when you edit it all down, it's like 10 minutes of you saying, a curse word every 7 to 8 words.
Yeah, I'm okay with that if it makes sense in the situation.
Yeah, if it makes sense.
If it's excessive, then I probably won't use that part.
Yeah, the interesting thing to me was I had a couple of people talk to me about, because what I did was I asked a couple of people about how they'd gone and found editors and stuff, right? And I was adamant that I didn't want to do what a lot of the other people are doing in the Rune Terra space at the moment, which is the game that I'm streaming most of. which is just having a 2-minute intro explaining a deck and then having the gameplay go for like 2-3 games.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that because they have like near daily uploads because that's very easy content to produce. But it's the same everywhere you go. like you could probably mute the person playing the deck and just watch the deck play, because I think that's what a lot of people are interested in. Like, there's always the people that'll argue. They'll be like, it's the personality that matters. I was like, with that type of video, it's not. It's just, it's that particular game. That's all it is.
Would it make it more interesting to just be like at the start of the video, just say like, if you want to know what the deck is, there's a link below. It'll take you to a document that explains blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, here's the footage and the jokes, whatever.
Yeah, there's the thing. I mean, like, for me, what I'll probably do is like an edited down version of a night of me playing, that deck, like 4 hours of footage and having like a best moment sort of thing. Because I think that suits my style better and it's different enough from what other people have. And I've got the Who Is videos as well. And nobody else does shit like that. So that'll be pretty good. But yeah, we're going to bring an editor on board. I'm going to pay them. I was adamant about that. I said, I was talking to Red about it, and a lot of other guys I know that have brought editors on, they've done like a revenue split scheme. So they've been like, yep, upload all the videos, and then, if the channel grows, then you can take 50% of the revenue.
Jesus.
Well, yeah, that was my initial reaction in that particular case. I was like, 50% is probably a bit of a big cut. I would probably...
That's a fair bit.
I probably would have capped it at about 20. But I didn't want to do that because especially in law, all of our billing is done with time costing. Yeah.
Yep.
So I have a very strong appreciation for the value of somebody's time. And so for me, especially somebody that's, done a lot of editing, I know how much goes into a 10-minute video, right? Editing a 10-minute video is not a 30-minute process, right? It's a 6-7 hour process, right? Yeah. And that's a quick edit. Yeah? To do some of the stuff that you see other people doing, you need to be experienced. You need to have done this hundreds, thousands of times, and there's a value in that. And I also believe in you get what you paid for. So for me, it was about equal parts respect, and I think both for the editor and for my content and my audience as well. I don't want to give them garbage.
Yeah.
Because people give up their time to come watch me be an idiot, then I better make sure that their time's worth it. That's
yeah, of course.
Yeah. That's
why, like, I've told you that I've probably edited, I don't know, somewhere between 300 to 500 hours of footage that never went anywhere. It was just me editing, fucking around with it, playing with things, and then deleting the whole lot because it wasn't what I wanted to put there. It wasn't worth anyone spending their time watching.
Yeah. The worst is when you, and I have this problem all the time, is when you're like halfway, 3/4 of the way through a big edit and you've seen it that many times, you just don't care about it anymore and you end up dropping it. That's the worst. That's the worst.
I think at that point you've spent probably too much time on that, and you should just put it away for a little while and work on something else.
The mistake there is not being efficient and just punching it out. I mean, to be fair, maybe you don't have the time, but that is a common occurrence for me. I will be editing a video and I will be 5-6 hours deep, and then I'll have to go somewhere, and when I come back, bringing the jokes and the stuff to life is half the fun. And if that part's dead for you, like, what are you doing?
Well, it's easy to lose. Like, even just having like a couple hours break like that, you'll lose where you were. You'll lose whatever mindset you were in.
Yep.
And with it, the motivation to keep working on it and keep get it finished.
Yeah, and the tempo of the video can be off. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch my Who Is Thresh video, I edited that pretty heavily over the course of like 3-4 days. And if you're paying attention, you can see where the days split off because I'm in different moods. Like one day, like some days I'm in a high energy mood. Some days I'm in a chill mood. And my editing reflects that. I think it's the same with music or art. If you're paying attention,
it's definitely the same with music.
Yeah,
I think in music it's even more fractured with music. There's I think it's when were they, like 76, 77. There's demos of like Van Halen riffs that Eddie wrote mid 70s, mid late 70s, didn't become songs until like early mid 80s. Like just years later, he's digging
just
up
dug
these
up
old
these
fucking,
riffs.
Yeah, and he's found a way to use them in a song. Like,
wow,
that's kind of like, I guess that's just part of a creative process sometimes, where you've got an idea, you can't flesh it out, you don't know what to do with it, stick it away for a while, and then later on you go, oh fuck, I know what to do with this now. I'm now in a space where I can flesh this out and I'll be happy with it. This is what I'm going to do with it. Here's the end result.
Yeah. And
the problem with videos, like these kind of videos, you can't really do that. If you have an idea for a video now and you record the footage, you can't then go back to it 2 or 3 years later and
no, it doesn't
finish
work like
the edit
that.
and push it out.
Yeah. Can
you imagine if you did that with Tarkov? How outdated everything would be in that old footage.
Or bloody God, what would it be?
PUBG
Advanced
even.
Warfare?
PUBG 2 years ago was so fucking different looking and just...
Yeah. Their AI wasn't as on point as it is today, so to speak. The bots weren't in the game.
They weren't in the game at all.
Man, I feel like that's going to be long-term a poor idea for PUBG, I think, putting the bots in it, because I think some of the hardcore PUBG fanatics, they really, really enjoy that idea of being able to best somebody in PUBG. Like a lot of people that really love PUBG... Yeah, well, a lot of people that really love PUBG talk about this idea that, killing someone in PUBG or getting a headshot is super satisfying. Like that's the kick that they get out of it. I don't know if the bots will take that away.
Not
By just like overexposure to that high. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know that it will take it away, because you know that you're not fighting a person. Maybe in that, like, yes, I get a kill. Oh, it was a bot. Fuck.
Yeah, so it'll that drop off.
I think the only reason that would make that drop off is in like the odd occasions you do come across another player. It's someone like Tiger or Kick or someone, and they flatten you before you have a chance to actually have a fight with them. You're like, well, there was the one player in the entire server and he killed me immediately. Fun game. Fucking 7 bot kills. Thanks. And I got killed by the only other player.
Nice, yeah. I've put down all the spare PCs in the IT room, but the one other bloke that's in here has put me in the dirt. Yeah, it was rough.
Because it kind of changes. Like, I feel like it changes the way you need to approach fights and things. Like, if you can see that a bot's running around, it's probably not worth killing them, because like you're just ringing the dinner bell.
Yeah,
and you're not taking out a threat. Like when it was all players, you're getting rid of a potential threat if you're killing another player.
Yeah.
Whereas most of the bots are pretty fucking useless, man.
I think that's the thing. I think it's a weird balance to strike between how good the bots are and how good they're not, because things that bots can be incredibly good at are things that humans aren't necessarily particularly good at, like target acquisition for bots. Like,
oh man,
being
the fucking scavs on woods. Would they have the iron sight SKS and they're in the trees and they're fucking like sidestepping and they one tap you in the face from fucking 200 meters away? You're like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like that's the thing. Like to a bot, it's like, oh, you're on my screen, I'm going to shoot you now. Right. And if you're over the hill, unless you're like, sprinting at the top of your top pace, then, maybe they don't see you. Like that sort of stuff can feel unnatural, and so it can feel weird playing against bots like that. I'll tell you what though, Tarkov probably has it the closest. I think Tarkov has the most, it's the most beneficial to the game is the way that their AI works. I think that they've done it very well. Like the fact that scavs, once you're a seasoned Tarkov player, scavs don't pose a huge threat as long as you're paying attention. If you drop your guard, sniper scav will ping you. And the boss scavs will always be a threat.
Yeah, like but they're supposed to be.
But that's what I'm thinking. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, the boss should be scary, and the boss should cause you severe anxiety if you're unprepared. He should cause you regular anxiety if you are prepared.
I think raiders are still a little bit broken, and even every now and then, like regular scavs they'll just pop you. Like you barely even hear them yelling. Like they start their yelling audio, and then they've fucking shot you in the face before you have a chance to do anything.
See, this is one of these things that I love about Tarkov. I don't play a huge amount of Tarkov, but I think as a concept, I think that that's very good. I think that that's good bullshit. Does that make sense? Like sometimes. the scavs pinging you from halfway across the map reinforces a fear that you have to be vigilant around scavs, right?
Okay, but sometimes it's just absolute fucking trash though. Like the amount of times
absolutely.
One of us we're in there as a 4-man, right? And then one of us goes, "Oh, it's just a scav. He shot me in the face." And then the same scav, after one tapping one of us immediately, turns to the others, and then he can't hit a fucking thing. He turns into a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
And we just take our time playing with him and killing him.
Yeah.
But for that one guy who got killed, who was carrying something, that they needed for a quest, they now have to start that fucking task from the start again because you just died with it in your inventory. It's no consolation like, oh, well, it was good bullshit. No, it wasn't. It was just bullshit. It was bad bullshit. It was fucked. Because there was no stakes for anyone else there. It didn't matter if they died or not. They were just there to babysit you so you could get the task done. The one person who needed to get out alive didn't. Got one tapped by a scav with a Toz.
And it's just one of those things.
That shit happened all the fucking time.
Yeah, and just bots. You get your ordinary bots, and then there's just the one that looks like Keanu Reeves did the motion capture for. Like that's the scav that you got today. The John Wick bot, the John Wick scav, Scav Wick.
Fucking Ivan Wick.
Yeah. Well, buddy. Yeah. I mean, do you want to touch on The Last of Us before we wrap things up? Maybe we jump over it. Spoiler free.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's not. I feel bad because go on.
Yeah, joke's on for all the people who thought that there was going to be a spoiler and they were super cautious throughout the whole thing.
I don't know that we need to talk about a game that neither of us has played or probably will play.
Yeah.
Either. Like, we're going to shit on something that we haven't actually tried.
Yeah, nah. Like, it's just, I mean, go to Metacritic. Have a look if you want to.
Make sure you look at the user reviews, not the critic ones.
Yeah, just insane.
Mate, I'm going to read comments.
That's what I've just pulled up. Yeah.
Which one do you want to read? Do you want to read Crazies or do you want to read Eyeholeman's? I'm sorry I didn't reply to you guys. I meant to do it Friday before I left, and then once I got where I spent almost the entire weekend, I had no fucking I had very little to no phone service, so I couldn't load this page to fucking answer. I couldn't reply to anything.
Yeah. So Eyeholeman seems to have one consistent point, and then Crazy has a bunch of little points. So
what do you want then?
Well, let's go with Crazy. I feel like Eyeholeman, he gets a lot of our attention. We love Eyeholeman.
Well, I'll read Eyehole then. You read Crazies.
All right.
Go on.
Well, all right. So Crazy says, he's quoted us. He says, "I didn't do ear rape, but it was a little bit distorted." Okay, well, that's probably me. But it was a little bit distorted.
That just sounds like you ripped extra steps.
You
said it was bass boosted and it was a bit distorted. That is what ear rape is, Hamish.
But it was
I didn't do ear rape. I just did ear rape.
Look, man, let's not dwell on this too much. They are some of the most toxic, creative people I've ever seen. You'd know all about that, huh?
Well, you're one of them, so.
Yes. Yes, Titan, it's typical for a man your age to have a problem with the postal service. It is okay. So you were having a whinge about Australia Post last time, and apparently it's normal for blokes around your age to have issues with the postal service.
That's what happens when you get old. You fucking your hair starts to thin, you have prostate issues, and the postal service sucks.
It just pisses you off all of a sudden.
Everything sucks.
Confirmed this is going to purchase a decent camera and become an Instagram model. Yeah, mate. I'm going to be taking selfies with my butt sticking out in the mirror. Pink sparkles, watch out. Here I come. Raise hand. I was still there. I don't know what that's in reference to. 10 out of 10.
People still listening at the end.
I
The
see.
podcast, I think he means.
So he's clearly just done this comment as he's listened to the podcast.
Yeah, that's fine.
10 out of 10. Definitely want to hear some Titan original music. That's pretty...
Eventually, maybe.
Eventually, maybe. And that level of fame brings a lot of criticism from others and unreasonably high expectations. Give them 20 to 30 years and they will be dead.
I can't remember exactly what the fame comment was about. I think we were...
It was so long ago, man. It was just so long ago that we talked about... Oh, bro, we got a dislike.
Did we?
We did. Someone disliked the fuck. We're over. That's it. Shut everything down.
No, I think that means that we're getting attention.
We've made it.
We've upset someone.
We pissed someone off.
Next stop, the quartering. We're there.
Yongyi, watch out. We're coming.
So I'm going to read eye holes then.
Yeah,
Thanks for the long podcast. Smiley face. No worries, eye hole man.
Yeah.
We might do more of those, I think, every now and then.
Big hour 20. That one.
Maybe like once a month or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
So Matt Heafy and Brendan Urie probably aren't going to do or say anything about the DMCA and music issues with Twitch because there's nearly nothing they can do. I learnt in my qualification for music business, so the copyright for music is split in several ways. So there's copyright, which is owned by the artists. This makes up the composition of the music itself. Then there's the P, used to be called phonographic rights. That's where the labels come into it. The record labels don't own the song. They own the physical and digital recording of the song because they paid for the recording studio, producer, distribution, etc. So you would have to get permission from the songwriters and the label to use their songs. However, if you recorded a cover of the song yourself and got permission from the artist, all is Gucci.
I see.
Oh yeah, I think there was a thing about this. To bring up Van Halen again, but one of their songs, somehow Pepsi got the rights to use the song in an ad for Crystal Pepsi or fucking something like that.
Yeah.
So they came to them and said, "Hey, we want to use this song." I think it was Right Now. They wanted to use this song for the ad, and they said, "No, you can't use the song." And they said, "Well, actually, we can, but we'll just get another band to cover it, or we can use yours and you can get paid for it." So they were like, "Well, we're fucked either way, so we may as well get money for it." And just let them just end up saying yes.
It's interesting. Yeah, this is very much this is a concept you see in a lot of legal stuff. Sometimes you see it metaphorically split into like a recipe and a cake metaphor. So like, but yeah, this is I'd completely forgotten about this, but that's the like the musical composition, like the way that it's written and the lyrics and stuff, they will belong to an artist. But then like the actual thing that you hear, that may potentially, be owned by a recording label, that sort of business. So, yeah, thanks, iHole. I'd completely forgotten.
This song's another example of what I was talking about. According to Eddie, the instrumental dates back to 1983 before he wrote Jump. It didn't come out until 92 or 93. It'd be when For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge released, which was 91, okay.
Unlawful Carnal Knowledge is on point for today's podcast.
Well, I mean, the first letter from each word. For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge.
God damn it.
That's their album name.
That's the album name.
Yeah.
There you go.
Crystal Pepsi commercials, blah, blah, blah. Eddie said that he agreed to license the song because he knew that if he did not, the company would hire studio musicians to record a cover. Yeah, that's what they told him.
There you go.
We don't have to use the real one. We can just
we just
hire someone else.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a weird like good guy company move in a way. I mean,
not really.
He's still holding him over a barrel, but at least they went to him first rather than just getting a cover band. I mean, there's probably a value in actually using the original. So I don't think there's ever a good guy Greg in a company like Pepsi. I think that's all efficiency.
I can't fucking stand hearing songs like, especially when it's songs that I like used in ads, and they've done a cover and it's so fucking bad.
Yeah,
it's like Christ. It's I don't know why that bothers me so much. It's just like that song. Every time I hear that song, like the real thing, I'm going to hear an ad. I'm going to hear that ad, that shitty version from that ad. It's always there in the back of my fucking mind. Like, hey, remember that this exists? Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Cheers.
Thanks for reminding me.
All right. Well, I'm going to do the outro here, Jim.
You're doing the outro. Okay.
I'm going to do the
Usually
outro.
do
Well,
so.
I mean, if you guys want to catch the podcast, you can on YouTube. There is a video version there at YouTube NULLSCORE. You can also catch it on all good audio platforms like Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, etc. You can yell at us on Twitter. Our handles are in the description or in the video because every time I actually read them out, I get them wrong. And you can also yell at us live on Twitch, .tv, Viserys TV, and .tv/T1TAN5150. Anything else to add, Jim, before we close this one out?
I don't think so, man. Not this time. I got nothing.
I think we covered it all out. Hopefully, all of the cool stuff that we need for the next podcast happens in the next 2 days. Or 4 days.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So we're stopped from being incentivized to being lazy.
Yeah, I don't want to keep doing that. It's not good.
It's not good. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.
See ya. Big week, man. So much stuff happening. It's cool.
Yeah, and I was not home when most of it. I came home and then fucking had a shower and I'm just like crashed on bed and I pull my phone out and start reading shit. I'm like, holy fuck, what happened? Like, leave civilization for like 2 days and just everything explodes. Yeah. I should go away more often just so heaps of shit can happen.
Yeah, I kind of had that the same thing. It's crazy to see Mixer go down. I would have thought that they'd be the front runner to fight it, but nah.
I thought they would fucking they'd realize what was happening. Like, well, we're not growing. What do we need? What does Twitch have that we don't? Clips and an affiliate program. All right, let's fucking fast track those two things so that we can get something happening.
Still cannot believe that they didn't implement clips.
They did, but for partners only.
Oh,
and they also didn't work properly, apparently.
What? That is the primary method of discovery for Twitch. Is sharing clips. Like, it's not through your like Twitch has horrible discovery, but the only way that you find Twitch streams is through clips that are then broken down and redistributed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on now, Mixer.
As if Twitch doesn't already say Twitch is already like fuck small streamers, but Mixer's like
apparently without their consent.
Fuck small streamers as hard as possible. Fuck them with a big black fist dildo with a handle in the end. No lube.